Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, 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 Kyle Halal Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles, a great millstone, and honor to salutation to you, sincere Akim of the hopeful elect. This gonna be a quick impromptu video, and the name of this video we're gonna call it "Rebellious Israelites Make Their Bed in the Lake of Fire." Lake of Fire. All right. Or wicked men make their bed in the lake of fire. And of course, speaking on the, and it's, and after a while, like these dudes are very predictable. But the script, we're gonna go into the scriptures of why this is happening. Cause you got this group. I mean, they call themselves Genesis. I'm calling them genocide. All right. Cause what they're doing is, what they're teaching is straight up poison. Just like the white man. All right. They worse than the white man actually. Remember what it said in Jeremiah the 5th chapter, from among my people I found wicked men more wicked than the wicked. So you got niggas out there, even ones that know that they're Israelites, that are even more wicked, vicious, grimy, low down, enemies of the Most High than the goddamn white man, the devil. That's all you're seeing right now. Excuse me. That's what you're seeing. All the nasty, devilish work they putting out there, and it's a ploy behind it, man. But the scriptures speak about them, because again, it's like they waited for what was it, so-called Memorial Day weekend. Like they had, they with them, they always gotta have a big announcement around, July 4th. They're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna have the Israelite blast off the greatest debate ever. The question that, look, there's no such thing as they're gonna just keep going bugging out. But anyway, let me go into the scripture first. This is our second Timothy. We started here just to get everything in perspective, because what they're doing, and really is child's play at this point, man. Really, the lake of fire is not speaking about Babylon, which really they never really had the truth anyway. But at this time, they're just scoffers, mockers, and they're just doing things to gain traction, like trying to, again, like I say, these dudes want to be like shock jocks. They want to be Hebrew Israelite Howard Stearns or whatever, say the most outlandish thing they could possibly say. And pretty much say the most outlandish thing they could say, and create controversy, because controversy sells. They thinking that this is a game. They think it's about making money. Think it's about a social media buzz and all. So that's why they're doing this, and they're trying to, be coy and act like they pretend that they don't really care about the scriptures, man. They don't care, but they just use the scriptures to make money. But the scriptures say, 2 Timothy 3:13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. So and I'm pretty sure that, because the scriptures say, wicked doer give heed to false lips. So I'm sure that, you always can find some other lonely, miserable, low life. Like when these dudes came with all these other different doctrines and everything, they might only be one other nigga that bugged out as them. But you always gonna find more bug outs that believe in that stuff. But they're deceiving them, but they're being deceived themselves, because the Most High is gonna judge them, man. He's gonna judge them upon it. See, they don't really have no fear. They looking at things carnal, and they think, they really don't believe in the Most High, man. But anyway, let me see if I could let me pull up the video with the brother, which I seen Apostle Tahar speak on it, so that's how I knew about it. Apostle Tar was going into it, and I guess this brother, the elder brother, Karatazaba and B More, he touched on it. This is the video I got pulled up, and I even caught some of the elder brother Yashawamba video. But really, this is child's play. What this shows is that how far gone. Like in Apostle Tar, the video he said, I believe he was saying how everybody else is a bug out. Only GMS got the 100% truth. Well, they confirm it more and more, because why? They're turning away from the doctrine. Okay, so now, again, let me bring this back a little more. I'll play this video. All right, fair use. All right, this from the brother Holy Bible Defenders, which is one of the elder brothers in B More.
Concerning what? We understand that there's going to be there's going to be a whole bunch of questions in regards to this. And listen, we love nothing more than questions, but
They love the controversy. They love the the gossip ring and all of this and that. You know, because these dudes are New Age Israelites, man. You got certain, and it ain't just them; it's a bunch of them. I mean, but right now, the flavor of the week, if you will, all right, with this, you know, which is nonsense. Basically, they're trying to say the lake of fire is in ancient Basra. And that shows that they don't understand prophecy, that the Lord is not dealing with them. And a lot of this stuff I think they do purposely, you know. They're basically agents. Everything they're doing is trying to attack. And they're worse than, you expect this from Hobcab Malone, right? The devil himself. You expect him because why? He has no part in this thing, man. All right, that's Haman, man. That's one of them, you know, at least he's a descendant of Haman, if not Haman himself. I won't be surprised. But you expect that from a low-life Edomite or a scumbag sitting there trying to rewrite history and write out us out of the history or change the scriptures to break down the foundation of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai that was already laid down by the elders. All right, starting with Abba Bivens, King Masha, High Priest Sariyah, down to this present day, Apostle Tahar and the rest of the apostles, man, and the body of Great Millstone who have the doctrine of Yahweh Shai, man. They're trying because why? This truth is affecting them, man. You know, so they get these Israelites to bend, go left. It's all a ploy, but this is what they live for, all right? And the scriptures speak about this.
This is specifically to focus on the topic of this video, which is America is not the lake of fire. And then we're going to go into proving where the lake of fire actually is. So
and see, they got the thing, black Israelites. And they pushing that. And they pushing that. All right? They pushing that label that Esau did, that BHI. We're not no black Israelites, man. We're the Israelites, the real true Israelites, which are the so-called Negroes, West Indians, Latinos, Native American. But they're pushing it, man. And they talk about to stick with the topic of the lake of the fire. Come on, that's what y'all doing, is laying a stumbling block. And I believe the apostle called y'all out on that too, which y'all are. Y'all are. That's why I ain't calling y'all genocide. Y'all genocide, man. Genocide. That's what you're doing, man. All right? You bringing death to the people, man, by teaching these bugged out doctrines. Now the lake of fire is not, which, you know, the scriptures tell you that, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna come back to this. Let me just read that real quick. One of the scriptures, Revelations, which, I mean, we done went to these scriptures so many times, man. All right. And seeing, you got to know prophecy too. And when you check out a lot of the, like, you know, which they, in the blue letter and certain Bibles, they go off. But look at the cross references that they put. They're almost some of the same precepts or pieces of the puzzle that we link up together. That, you know, to make the be able to bring out the truth, to paint the picture of what the Most High showed the apostles, the prophets, the prophecies, man. Okay? So I'll start at 7, Revelations 20 and 7, right? It said, and when 1,000 years are expired, and cross-reference, they go into Ezekiel 38, which we're approaching that time, all right? Which is World War III. The Lord's going to put the spirit on Russia to go down here and attack, you know, get in the fray. And the United States is going to jump into it. And it's going to be World War III, right? But it says, when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Now, this started in the era which is called the Renaissance, which is the rebirth. The 13th chapter speak about her deadly wound being healed, which the deadly wound was talk about the downfall of the Roman Empire, the pagan Roman Empire, when Esau, because he was, you know, going back to Julius Caesar's, the first line of the Caesars and all that came into power after that's these so-called white people today, but they got taken out of power by the Most High overall, and through the uprising of Jake. Jake ended up, you know, throughout a period of time. So this says after the 1,000 years expired, meaning the time period where they were put down, they pushed in captivity, pushed into, you know, caves, made subjects under us, being judged, right? So after that period, which is the Renaissance, Satan shall be loose. Satan mean adversary, the so-called white. And we got to speak up and break these words down as simple as possible, man. Right? Satan just means adversary. It's not. See, a lot of people think that's like a mythological big head, redhead monster with horns on his head with a pitchfork. Nah, that's the so-called white man. All right, being when he, you know, during the Renaissance period when he started coming back into power. and she'll go out to deceive the nations, so now check that out, to go out to deceive the nations. That's why nobody really knows who's who today, man. You got people talking about like Ron Doughton. Ron Doughton sitting up there talking about Japhet is the white man, okay, and because he doesn't understand prophecy. And really, at first I would say, well, you know what, because you got a lot of these guys out here that do a lot of research. You got a lot of guys in different groups, even dudes that which I see more so now, like so-called Jakes that study more science and things of that nature, going into the history of the Dark Ages, but they still go off, ever learning, not able to come to the knowledge of the truth, because they don't realize that during the Crusades, the Christian Empire and the Islamic empires that was fighting each other throughout the Dark Ages were really Israelites that were under those religions, which was our people. So they got it right that they're so-called people of color, and the kings in Europe they getting all that right, but they still ain't got the 100% truth, because why? The so-called white man turned everything upside down. That's why Isaiah, we used to always go to this scripture, Isaiah, 28 and 16? No, 29 and 16, pardon me. Isaiah 29 and 16. It says, surely a turning of things upside down shall be it. Because why? Who's that speaking about? See, and you got to understand prophecy. That's why, really, and it'd be a waste of time engaging in debates. And at this point, man, you can call us whatever you want. You can say whatever the hell you want, man. This is why Yahweh Shai said, cast not your pearls before swine. Because why? They're not worthy of this truth. This is just more so for the edification of believing brothers, man. Because anybody that's foolish enough to think that, and like the Apostle Tar said, that's not even a lake, that's a river, right? So anybody foolish enough to believe those breakdowns and everything, because, you got people that like to hear things that are new, right? Like how, what was that, Mars Hill or whatever? They sit there and bring, these niggas belong on Mars Hill, man. Coming out with some new type of heresy. That's that apostate spirit, man, that they got, man. Straight up apostasy is what they coming with, man. But it ain't gonna stand, and it's not gonna work on the elect. But now Esau, and the reason why, which I don't even believe that they really believe that, they're just doing things to just, you got a scorned girlfriend, a scorned wife or whatever. You might have been with her for 40, 50 years. You was the greatest man alive, right? She sung your praises or whatever. You had all, you did everything. Oh, man, my man. And the minute that you cut her off, now she want to just sit there and say shit that ain't even true. Insult your manhood. Say stupid shit. And that nigga's a mama's boy. You ain't probably grew up without a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, they sit there and say all kind of, that's how these dudes, they just sitting there just throwing stuff to cause tension, and then try to, judge us or put us in the court of public opinion. Listen, we don't give a fuck what the public say. All right? Look, we still sticking to the 100% truth. You can't say that. Y'all keep flip-flopping and changing, just like IUIC, okay? And ISUPK. And again, they teach different things that are true, but them ISUPK is way off too. I mean, but at least they do teach the name, but they don't know about the MOTB. And they talking about John the Baptist, and that was never taught. So a lot of, like, when Apostle Tar said that, I said, yes. A lot of these groups are really just bugged out. If your eyes are open, you see how bugged out, and the doctrines just keep coming and coming, and some of it is the same old thing, is regurgitated, man. But see, you got to have Proverbs 4 and 7. You know what? I ain't reading it. I always quote it. I'm gonna just get the scripture real quick. Proverbs 4 verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing. It's about the wisdom of the Most High, which is contained in the Holy Bible. All right? These guys will sit there and tell you that not all the books are of the Most High, all the writings of Paul are not valid, and yada, yada, yada. In the scriptures, like we said, evil men should wax worse, deceiving and being deceived, because there's no end with, that's why, basically you watching these guys spiral out of their fucking spirit, man. They going to the different levels of Matt. Nate going talk. That nigga done definitely fell off the horse, man. Nigga playing a Hebrew cowboy Negro version of Mordecai or whatever he called himself. But they're bugged out because they're not getting the understanding. See? Proverbs 4 and 7. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. Yeah, get wisdom. Hell, if any of these other groups out there teach you something that's true, Yeah, if the truth is the truth. Yahweh Shai said that about the Pharisees and the Sadducees. If they telling you that you're an Israelite from the tribe of Judah, so-called nigger tribe, it's called so-called nah, we're not telling you not to but the thing is, you're supposed to follow Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. What the Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, said, be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Yahweh Shai. Then Yahweh Shai said in John 7:38, is it? He that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. All right? Rivers of living water. So now, when it comes back to the truth, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. But don't forget to get the understanding. Because anybody could buy a 10,000 piece of puzzle, right? Anybody could hold it and sit there and start moving the pieces around. But not everybody could put that puzzle together. You got to have understanding. You got to understand how it works. You got to sit there and make the piece. You got to know how the pieces fit. And really, with this truth, because it's truth. Wait a minute, the scriptures speak about this truth being a mystery. So not everybody. And even though I think these dudes are just, just doing that to be whatever the word is, be like pesky or whatever, right? But the Lord is not with them nonetheless. See? Let me see. Let me get straight to the point. Get straight to the point. 20. Let's go straight to it. 26. All right. So now this is Colossians chapter 1, verse 26. It says, even the mystery which have been hid from ages. See, this truth. All right, of the prophecy of World War III, of who Gog and Magog is. Because if you're reading it from a carnal mind, an unlearned mind with no understanding, you're just going to think of the region of how Japheth is there. You're going to think, oh, yeah, see, so that got to be Japheth. Because when you go into the maps, that's where Japheth dwelt at. Now, we read the scripture where the Lord said about turning things upside down. And again, the scriptures say, with all thy getting, get understanding. So you got to understand that the faces of the people of that land have changed throughout the world since the rebirth, the renaissance of the so-called white man. What's so hard for you to understand? See, simple-minded people, look, it says Jesus. It says Jesus. That's his name. But yeah, the scripture says, search the scriptures, right? Study to show you thyself approved. Anybody with any common sense will say, well, you know what? The J just was added over the past 500 years to the alphabet. So obviously that wasn't the name that was originally recorded or they were calling upon him. That takes the Spirit of the Lord to be working with you. That's the getting to the understanding. So now knowing that through Esau, the devil, the Renaissance, and what the Renaissance meant, right? The rebirth, basically, in layman's terms, and that's when these devils came out conquering all the dark nations. They start the iconoclasm. Like, people act like they're not privy to this, but they know about it, but they don't understand it. So it's not a hard thing for the face of the people that's in the land of what's today called Russia, right? Which we know it to be Gog and Magog, right? It's not a hard thing to understand that the people there are not the original people of that land. The people there today is the so-called white man. But it's supposed to be the so-called white man because the Most High said he set this white man up for that great future judgment, which is Esau. See? Just like over here in America, people, they trying to scrub out the history to make you think that the Native American Indians, the real so-called Native Americans, so-called, because we didn't call ourselves that, but that they didn't exist here or they never was civilized. The so-called white man came and they'll let you think that because now their face done took over the whole earth, you see? So that's why you got to have understanding, because this thing is truly a mystery. So it said, even the mystery which have been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints, which is what? The prophets, going back to Amos, the 3rd chapter. So again, this group genocide that broke off of the Sicarii party, and they keep change. The scripture said, "Meddle not with them that are given the changes," man. You know, them guys are unstable. You know, 1 minute next they gonna say, look, the name of the Lord, that's not the real name. You know, and again, I just tend to think that's why I could never take none of these guys. If you ain't teaching the 100% truth, if you ain't talking about Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, I can't take you serious, man. Because why? 1 minute you will be an Israelite and you say the name of the Lord. Next minute, now nobody knows the name. You know, flip-floppers, man. The Lord said what? In the book of Malachi. He said, I changed not. All right? But anyway, let me play a little bit more of this. You know, I mean, so many things to go into. I mean, which, hey, the scripture said, let everything done for edification's sake. So even though that these are easy to put down, you know, this ain't even a deep myth, you know, or whatever the case. This is just some utter madness that these guys are spewing. That's what it is. But it makes for lessons. It makes for, see, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, starting with the head elder apostles on down, you know, we take their madness and turn it into a edifying lesson. All right? We turn they shit into sugar, so to speak. As the old saying, go turn the shit into sugar. Because why? You know, the apostles on down, and see, you can't cheat experience, man. And with experience, you could do that, all right? Because the force is heavy with you, just like it is with us, starting with the head of the apostles. So this is, and we know what this is all about, but go ahead, do it. Keep doing what you're doing, because Yahweh Shai said none of the elect is lost anyway. So we ain't tripping.
Questions that are kind of offshoots of that, just save it for now and for another video, if that's cool. Which is, America is not the lake of fire. And then we're going to go into proving where the lake of fire actually is. So
right, so now, and again, and I think the Apostle Todd had said it in his video, he don't know if they got it from, because there are a lot of bugged out commentaries. And again, the spirit of the Lord has to be with you, man, because you can read Esau, you know, and those are stumbling blocks, man. Like, you got certain books, everybody be like, well, we deal with this book, the book of Enoch. Yeah, but they've been tampered with. They got falsehoods added to it, man. Now the Bible, there's things that, you know, that they added through translation or whatever, but through the spirit of the Lord, you're gonna be able to pick it out if that's the case. And that's why we always speak of going back to the original text, the Lashon Kodash. But now they said that the lake of fire is not America, but they're gonna show you where, which, you know, from I think the video, I think Pastor Tar puts it up. No, I think this brother goes into it later in this video. Like I said, I've been watching a few videos, and this is what's buzzing. You know, like, again, a lot of times people, they do this for attention too, but they're saying it's in Basra, right? Which, again, you got to remember, people are not named after the land. The land is named after the people, just like the Israelites with Ezekiel 9:4, right? So matter of fact, let me just go there real quick. All right, and Bill, I know I'm jumping around or whatever. I mean, the point is just made. Okay, America is the lake of fire, but we're gonna go further into it. But the points for these guys coming up with this nonsense is because I believe that it's an agenda behind it. Just like trying to change the name of the Most High, changing the prophecies, talking about we could be here for 20, 30, 40 years, right? Saying the MOTB ain't the correct. I think that there's an agenda. And the scriptures speak about these guys with these hidden agendas, man. And guess what? This truth is proven. Everybody is exposing. All right, not only is the white man being exposed, wicked, rebellious Israelites are being exposed with their wicked doctrine of apostasy. But anyway, man, I lost a train of thought in the verse I was going to go to. So let me just go back to Colossians. Lord willing to come back. Salakia. Hey, it happens, man. You know, it happens. We in this flesh. Shit, I ain't ashamed to say I'm born the fuck out. You know, it's the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai that gives us the power. You know, but it'll come back, man. Anyway, Colossians 1 and 25. 26. Even the mystery which have been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints. Right, I got it back. Ezekiel. All right, this is a scripture we bring out. And again, they're gonna start. We already said it. It's a pattern with these guys, and it's a thing to get clout and everything. They start everything that was taught, that they heard the elders and everything taught. Now they're gonna find a way just to teach against it, just for the sake, not that they believe in it, just for the sake of teaching against what the apostles of Great Millstone is teaching, right? So now, again, back to that logic that they're saying that Basra, because the scriptures do mention Basra, but you gotta, it's prophetic, all right? It's prophetic, and you gotta understand what it's talking about, right? But now check this out, Ezekiel chapter 9 and 4, because again, if you know the way they read stuff, oh, see, no, they take everything just for what it is worth. And remember, you can't read the scriptures like it's a book from Esau's, you know, Amazon's bestseller or nothing like that, man. The Bible is totally, completely different. You got to be plugged in truly with the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. There's many people that read the Bible, studied it, could quote. You got dudes, you know, you got some of these even weak-minded Christians quoting scriptures left and right, but they don't know what they're doing, because had they knew what they understood, what they read, they wouldn't be in Christianity, they wouldn't be in Catholicism, they wouldn't be in none of these. So even though that they're able to quote scriptures like a monkey or a parrot, they still don't understand, man. Okay? And that's another scripture that, I mean, it's just coming to mind, Salakia again. That's, let me see, is it 2 Corinthians 11th chapter? Yes. Right? It says, 2 Corinthians 11 verse 13. For such are false apostles. And the Comforter wasn't the only false. You got a lot of false apostles. They might put that on us, or Apostle Tar and the rest of the apostles and bishops and elders, but that don't apply. All right, we measure, see, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we measure up to the word, to the reed, to that rod. So that's how you know who's a false prophet or not. Somebody saying the name of the Most High is not important, that's a false prophet. Right now, you got guys saying the lake of fire. So with that, again, I mean, I know, but it's so much to be said on how it shows how simple that is. So if America's not the lake of fire, so that river, which ain't even a lake in Basra, so that's going to be burning up. That's where, you know, all of the wicked's going to be. So everybody over here in America's going to keep continuing going on. Is that what you think? And seeing a lot of times, a lot of people that sit there and said, that justify the 2/3 that say America ain't going to be no missiles, because they said that at one time, say ain't going to be no chariots. Most of those are people that straight up of the 2/3. And you got to think, maybe because they know if the things that we're saying are true, right, which they are, beyond a shadow of a doubt, but and the white man thinks like that. He reasons, even though he's the devil. Well, what if we don't believe in God, but what if those Israelites are true? Maybe we should make a space station. Maybe we should be prepared, make a fallout shelter, bunkers. And so the same with these wicked niggas, you know, because if what we're saying is true about the Lord coming back to kill the 2/3, those who misuse his word and his prophets, then they got to know that they on the top of that list, man. The genocide, all the wickedness that they did, you know, and all the things that they taught against, that we taught, right along with Nate. That's why Nate, he doubles down, and Yohanan and all them, because they pray like hell that we're wrong, man. They pray like hell that the Most High is not with us, man. Because why? They're in direct violation of the scriptures, man, of the Most High, right? And that's why it's going to be proven. The Lord said, then shall my servants be made known. So we not really tripping, man. Y'all continue what y'all doing, man. You know, you got the ISUPK, they out there doing the Hebrew toy soldier thing, making themselves a carnal target for Esau. This ain't about a carnal thing, man. It's not about incite. You ain't supposed to incite nothing. Our job is just to prophesy, man. Okay, at the end of the day, it's not even really be debating. All right, not saying that brothers got questions that are sincere. Most of these people that do these debates, if not all of them, they're not sincere. I remember Pastor said this shit right when Sarnetta and them dudes popped up. He said, at the end of those debates, nobody converts to no side. Everybody go back into being, you know, it's nothing but a couple dollars that's being made off it. That's the only thing that comes out of that. But anyway, it said, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, right? So they're going to sit there and, you know, try to, because they know, just like all these damn pimps, man. They got this picture with TD Fakes, because now he's saying you got to plant a seed for prosperity's acts, and I don't know. That's what, hey, they're getting bold now. And I guess they figure if the white man's bold enough to say, look, we gonna tax the hell out of you, can't do nothing about it, we're raising your rent, we're raising this. You got these wicked ass pieces. Look, you saw Marvin Sapp, that nigga, lock the doors, look, don't let nobody leave. TD Jakes, look, they getting bold. Look, give us 5,000, blah, blah, blah. You see? But that's that wickedness amongst them, man. But that's why, and really, we're not supposed to be going entertaining them demons, man. You got to come to the debate and we're going to see. Nah, we already know who got the truth, man. All right, so now, for the word of deceitful workers, right, is
Strong's G 1386, Dalios.
Dalios, which means guileful, deceitful. All right. Now, there's another word the scripture uses called cunning. That's what I wanted to see if it was going to say that there. But it said, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Hamashiach. And you see them, they all say that they coming in the name of the Lord. Some of them don't even say it now. Some of them say they don't believe in the Messiah. But, it's all a veil. It said, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. So again, you got these guys that sit there, quote these scriptures, this, that, and the third. It means nothing, man. If they're not the Israel of the Most High, if Yahweh Shem Shai is not with them, it means nothing because they don't even have the understanding. They're able to, and there's people nowadays that are more versed in the scriptures. Some people read the Bible 80, 90, 150 years and still don't understand. All right? So it said, therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers, the minstrel show, the genocidal minstrel show. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. They're going to receive their just due for all of this deceitfulness, man. All right? Beguiling the simple-minded souls, man. All right? So, now going back to Ezekiel 9:4, just to make the point of how you got to, you got to know how the apostles use the word extrapolate. You got to be able to draw forth what the scriptures are saying. So you had the wicked Pharisees and the Sadducees. They just had the show. They had the laws and everything, and you know what I'm saying. And the thing is that they didn't have the understanding. They didn't understand nothing about Yahweh Shai, so they was even lost. Even though they could sit there and make the long prayers and quote all kind of Torah and scriptures and everything, but they didn't have the understanding. So you got to be able to extrapolate, like the apostles say. Like you got in construction, you got a lot of people that are project managers, but they don't understand. In a construction site, they don't know the codes. They don't know, what size of sheetrock, what size of screws you use, what gauge of steel is supposed to be used for a certain story of a building and things of that nature. They don't know. They might have an electrical code book, but they still don't understand how you got to install arc fault GFCI breakers and how to jump it out and line and load things. They don't understand it. All right, they might be walking around with wrenches and everything, all the plumber tools, but they can't change a toilet. You see? So that's how these guys are, man. So now again, Ezekiel 9:4, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads. And this is not talking about the charagma. This is talking about if I'm saying it right, the mark of exemption. The ta'rat. I ain't saying it right. The slacket. Y'all know what I'm saying. Matter of fact, let me get it. I'm getting tripped up on my Hebrew. All right, on my Hebrew. So we're gonna go and check it out. Tawa. Hey, slacket, bro. Like I said, man, we burnt out in Babylon, man. Sometimes the pronunciation be a little, but yeah, as you see, basically it's a sign of exemption from judgment, not the mark of the beast. Two different marks. Although you have guys try to sit there and tie this in, it's different. All right, and again, that's how you know that they're not experienced, they're not rightly dividing the word of the Most High. But it said, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark of exemption upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Now we know that this is speaking about the brothers, the Israelite brothers, that are against all the wickedness that's going on, throughout the world. But now, if you're reading this just literal, this just means there's going to be people in Jerusalem. So there's going to be a guy with a magic marker going around in Jerusalem, looking for people that are crying. No, you gotta have understanding. That's what it basically boils down to, man. And that's why, again, Colossians speaks about the mystery, right? But now, matter of fact, I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up. Let me go straight to Romans the 20th. Not Romans, Revelations 20. And there's a few other parts where it speaks about the lake of fire, which is speaking about the missiles, man. Just like when Sodom and Gomorrah, and wait a minute, the Lord did bring nuclear destruction, via the elements, because the Most High controls everything. And remember, the Most High is what? A ministering flame. So the Most High could just sit there and just, Esau had a term called spontaneous combustion. I remember this book called Eccentrics or some shit like that. But they used to go into how people are just turning to fire while they walking and just, because why? The Most High, the Spirit is in everything, man. And the Most High Spirit is what? Fire. So the Most High Spirit was in the elements that formed the fire and brimstone in Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, is not America also known as Sodom and Gomorrah? When you read Revelations 11th chapter, you think that's just talking about ancient Sodom and Gomorrah? No, ancient Sodom and Gomorrah, is already destroyed. That's talking about America. But anyway, getting to the point, 10, starting at 10. It said, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire. So not a river of fire, but the lake of fire and brimstone. Okay, and when you look up the word brimstone, it goes into the smoke from a fire, like a divine fire, which basically is the word is hinges on the word theos, which is God, right? The word is theon or something like that, which is derives from the theos, meaning what? The Most High is a consuming flame. So that's what the brimstone is, meaning that fire, that divine fire, right? When you look it up, it said where the beast and the false prophet are, all right? The so-called white man and the NATO and the Roman Catholic Church, the whole system, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. So now you're going to think that, and seeing this is a stumbling block too, because you think that there's going to be someone poking in the flames, poking people forever and ever. Forever and ever means for a long period of time, meaning the smoke is going to be burning, right? It says, and I saw a great white throne and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and heaven fled away. What does that mean? Was the earth, grew lazy and started running? No. Meaning what? The scope of the earth from the impact of the nuclear missiles that's going to hit, man. That's what that's going into. And there was found no place for them. Meaning what? No more rulership, no more place for them to say we're going to build up and everything. This is after the World War III, after the nuclear destruction. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High. And the books were open. And another book was open, which is the book of life. All right, which is for the elect, which is, the Holy Scriptures. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead. Meaning what? Hell represents destruction, okay, and death. All right, because why? This has been the valley of the shadow of death, and it's been nothing but hell is a condition, okay? Hell is a condition played out on earth. Going into slavery, captivity is hell, all right? You're brought down to a lower state. That's why in Isaiah the 14th chapter it said, hell from beneath is moved to meet thee at thy coming. Meaning destruction is waiting the so-called white man when you read that in Isaiah the 14th chapter. That's why you got everybody waking up, everybody's Amalek is being blasted by every goddamn body, by Ishmael, Arabs. Hell, you got the animals. The other day you had this deer caught and it was looked like a baby, like the one that was spotted, caught, I believe it was an Edomite bitch, and just was just prancing on it, pop, 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 you know? So destruction is coming for you. That's what that's speaking about. See, people want to believe into some mythological, and that's what they did with religion so they could rule over the people. But it said that, and they would judge every man according to their works. And death and hell will cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Because what was the first death? The flood. And the Lord said he wasn't going to destroy the world no more by water. But he said by fire. Okay, by fire. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life, which means what? In the book of life, where it speaks about the 144,000, the prophets, the elect, was cast into the lake of fire. All right, it says nothing about it being a river in Basra. All right, they were cast into a lake of fire because when all those missiles are fired off on America, the whole of the missiles going to be shot throughout the world, but the whole of America is going to be burnt down when you go further into the prophecy, which that's another lesson for another day. All right, and there's more that we go into it, you know, just further proving that the lake of fire is not talking about no river in Basra, that actually America is going to be the lake of fire. Just like the scriptures speak about America being Babylon the Great. All right, in Jeremiah, when the Lord speak about bringing fanners, meaning other nations to set their missiles to set this place on fire. That's what's about to happen. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna end it there. Spirit allow, I'll come back because there's a ton more scriptures, there's a ton of more information we could go into, you know. But plain and simple, the lake of fire is America. Okay, and yes, this bitch will burn, and you ain't gotta believe our word. You know, if you don't believe us, just keep being an American as you can. Keep supporting this damn demonic place, and we're gonna see how things work out. All right. But anyway, with that, I'm gonna say Kal Halal, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Shalom to you, sincere Akim. Shalom.